I'm Lisi Keeker, a longtime studio owner turned founder here at Studio Grow. Just a few years ago, I was building my studios the hard way. So I didn't have the team, the budget, or most importantly, the time. Now, if you speed up to today, I sold my wildly profitable studios in the mid 7 figures while serving my community in ways I could have only dreamed. Now I work with thousands of boutique fitness studio owners in over 40 countries, and I am so blessed to share some of the best tested strategies for our industry every single week. I created this podcast so you'd always have clear, actionable processes, tried and tested advice, and just some good old-fashioned inspiration. So you can take steps to grow your studio and turn it into a powerhouse empire just like I did. If you're a studio owner who's ready to impact your community and see major growth in the process, or you're prepping to become one, then you're in the right place. So let's kick this off, shall we?
Welcome back to another episode of The Business of Boutique Fitness. I'm your host today, Coach Caroline, and today we're diving into a topic that's essential for any studio owner or team leader looking to kick off their staff with energy and enthusiasm. It's your team meeting blueprint. It's crucial to ensure that our teams are not aligned, but genuinely fired up and fully invested in our studio's success. And today, I'll walk you through a simple yet powerful structure for a team meeting that will set the tone for growth and connection throughout the year. So grab a pen and paper because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty, and stick with me through the end because I'll also share a way for you to dive even deeper into strategy and execution through our mastermind program, where we really get into the weeds on optimizing every single part of your studio. So one of the most important things you can do in any team meeting, especially your first meeting, is revisit your studio's mission, vision, and core values. This is the North Star for your studio, and making sure your team is aligned with it is key. Don't just make this a one-way conversation, though. Involve your team. Ask them to share how they see these values being lived out in their day-to-day roles. Do they feel connected to your mission? Do they have ideas on how to bring it to life even more? And this is also the perfect time to check in on whether your values still feel relevant and authentic. The last thing you want is to have a set of values plastered on the wall that don't actually resonate with your team anymore. Use this meeting to affirm that your culture is alive and real from the inside out. Next, it's time for a culture check-in. Ask your team directly, are we living up to the culture we've built? What can we improve? What's working? What feels out of alignment? All of those. This is a great opportunity to talk about things like employee benefits, which can be very creative, flexible scheduling, professional development, in-studio perks, things that will actually reflect the culture that you are trying to build. And if your studio has unique traditions like wellness challenges or in-house workshops, bring those up and see how the team feels about them. Are they valuable? Are they fun? This is a collaborative conversation, and the more input you get, the more your culture will feel like something your team owns, which is what we all want at the end of the day. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked. It's making sure your team understands their unique role in the studio's ecosystem. Every single role, from front desk staff to the lead instructor, plays a part in the broader goals of your business. Use your meeting time to explain how each team member contributes to the studio's success and growth. For example, your front desk team isn't just managing client check-ins. They're the first impression your clients get of the studio. And your instructors, they aren't just teaching classes, they're ambassadors of your brand. Help your team see the direct line between their daily actions and the bigger picture. This sense of purpose can be hugely motivating. Next up, goals. Let's set some team goals. What can the group work toward together this year? Maybe it's increasing membership retention, creating more community events, or hitting certain benchmarks in revenue. Have everyone contribute ideas so they feel invested. And remember, we just clarified what everyone's role is in the company. So now they really understand how they can play a part in all of these broader goals we have. After we set some team goals, I always love to move into individual goal setting. Each team member should have their own professional goals, and here's where you tailor it to their role. For example, an instructor might want to work on increasing class attendance by a certain percentage, or a front desk staff member could work on improving member interactions to boost retention. These goals can tie back into the studio's larger objectives, so we're all rowing in the same direction. And let's talk meeting cadence. For smaller studios with fewer staff, you might hold team meetings monthly or even bi-weekly. And for larger operations, maybe it's every quarter with smaller check-ins in between. The key here, whatever cadence you choose, is consistency. Don't let too much time pass between meetings or you'll lose momentum. You want to make sure your team feels heard regularly and that you're staying on top of any issues or opportunities as they arise. But let's talk about communication. In any studio, it's the lifeblood of your operations. But here's something that often gets missed. Communication isn't one size fits all. People communicate differently, and understanding these nuances can be a game changer for your team dynamics. So start by recognizing the different communication styles in your team. Some people are direct. They like to get straight to the point and may feel frustrated if there's too much small talk. Others may be more reflective and need time to process information before responding. You need to create space where all types of communicators feel comfortable. And in your meetings, you can balance this by making sure there's time for both immediate feedback and thoughtful reflection. Maybe you wrap up your meetings with a follow-up email summarizing the key points so those who need time to digest have a chance to respond later. And active listening is another crucial piece of the puzzle. This is where a lot of teams falter, right? People are listening just to respond rather than really to understand. Encourage your team to practice active listening in every meeting. When someone shares, make sure others are paying attention. Ask clarifying questions and engaging with the content rather than waiting for their response. Over time, this builds trust and fosters deeper connection, but also this is a skill that's going to directly relate to the conversations that your team has with clients, because we need to foster this active listening and this empathy throughout the client journey as well to make these crucial sales that are part of your broader goals in the studio. So if you don't have a solid agenda in place before a meeting, you are setting yourself up for an unproductive time. We've all been in those meetings that drag on forever with no clear direction or purpose. And that's why having a clear agenda is so important. It sets the tone for your meeting and helps ensure that you stay on track. When setting your agenda, start by thinking about your top priorities, right? What absolutely needs to be covered today? What can wait? And let's make sure we're balancing studio-wide updates with role-specific discussions. For example, if we've got a new membership drive starting next week, make sure everyone, front desk staff, instructors, managers, they all know how their role impacts that initiative. And for larger studios, we might need to have separate breakout discussions for different teams so that the conversation stays relevant and focused. And I always recommend sending the agenda to your team ahead of time. This is going to give them a chance to review the topics and come prepared with any questions or insights. And don't forget to make the agenda collaborative. Ask your team if there's anything they want to discuss or add to the list. This makes your meetings more inclusive and ensures that the issues that matter most to your team are being addressed. Meetings are only as effective as the follow-up that happens afterward. You could have the most inspiring and productive meeting in the world, but if no one follows through on the action items, it's all for nothing. So that's why it's critical to assign clear responsibilities and deadlines for every item discussed. Here's a system that works well. As each point on the agenda is discussed, assign a person responsible for that task and agree on a deadline for when it will be completed. Don't leave this vague. Make sure it's specific. Mary will create a new social media content calendar by next Monday, or John will finalize the membership pricing updates by Wednesday. This way, everyone knows exactly what's expected of them, and there's no room for confusion. And don't stop there, track it, right? Maybe you're using a software or a tool like Trello or running this in a spreadsheet, but keep that running list of action items. Who's responsible and when they're due. Make this something that everyone can view so we can see and hold each other accountable for the tasks that are, again, contributing to the broader goals of the studios. Holding people accountable in this way is going to create a culture of responsibility and follow through and also foster our employees to take initiative. All of these things happen on our dream team. But let's be real here as well. Conflict happens. No matter how tight-knit our team is, there will be disagreements, and those can sometimes surface during meetings. But here's the key. Conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can actually be healthy as long as it's handled correctly. The way we resolve conflict can either strengthen our team or create division. So first, let's set some ground rules for communication during meetings. Respectful listening, no interrupting, and focusing on solutions instead of blame are a few good examples. When a conflict arises, don't brush it under the rug. Deal with it head on. Ask the parties involved to explain their perspectives and look for common ground. Encourage them to frame their concerns in terms of the studio's mission and goals. This shifts the conversation from me versus you to us working together for the greater good. Another great strategy is role-playing conflict resolution. In your team meetings, create hypothetical conflict scenarios that are relevant to your studio. Maybe it's a disagreement between instructors over class scheduling, or a misunderstanding between front desk staff and management over membership policies. Have your team practice resolving these conflicts in real time. It's a powerful way to build both emotional intelligence and teamwork. Celebration is an essential but often overlooked aspect of team meetings. People want to feel appreciated for their hard work, and celebrating successes, no matter how big or small, can go a long way in boosting morale. In every meeting, make sure to acknowledge individual and team accomplishments. Did one of your instructors fill their class consistently for the last month? Did your front desk team handle a tricky situation with grace and ease? Don't just gloss over these wins. These are huge. Take a moment to really celebrate them. Call people out by name. Be specific about what they did. Highlight if it's something they've been really working on in their individual feedback sessions with you and management. Public recognition is a powerful motivator, and don't just stop at verbal praise. Make it fun. You can incorporate small rewards like gift cards or extra time off, or plan bigger celebrations for major milestones like hitting a revenue target or launching a new class type successfully, right? These celebrations create a positive atmosphere in your meetings and remind your team that their efforts are valued. We do this for our clients all the time, right? We recognize their milestones. We celebrate their successes. And so many of these things that we offer in our client journey, we need to mirror with our employees to keep the team strong, happy, and engaged. Inclusion should be at the heart of every team meeting. One of the biggest mistakes studio owners make is only allowing a few voices to dominate the conversation. This creates an environment where quieter team members may feel unheard or undervalued. But here's the thing, everyone on your team has valuable insights and ideas to contribute. Start by making sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak. If you notice that certain people are more reserved, ask them directly for their thoughts. You could say something like, "Sarah, I'd love to hear your perspective on this," or "James, what are your thoughts on how we can improve our check-in process?" This is going to encourage participation without putting people on the spot in a way that feels uncomfortable. And another great tactic is to rotate meeting roles. Have a different person lead each meeting. Take notes or even create an agenda. This is going to give everyone the chance to step up and take ownership of the process, and it also helps you tap into the strengths of your entire team. Over time, this inclusive approach will foster a more engaged, creative, and motivated team. With more studios offering hybrid or remote work options, using the right technology to keep everyone connected is more important than ever. And trust me, the right tools can make a huge difference in streamlining communication and collaboration. For day-to-day communication, platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams are amazing. They allow for quick, informal conversation and reduce the need for endless email chains. But you can also set up different channels for various teams. One for your instructors, maybe one for your marketing crew, and one for your management team. That way our conversations stay organized. And when it comes to meetings, if we have a heavily remote sector of our team, tools like Zoom or Google Meet are essential for keeping those remote staff engaged. But here's a pro tip. Even if everyone is physically present in your studio, sometimes using these tools for virtual collaboration can be beneficial, especially when it comes to recorded meetings. That way, if someone missed it or wants to revisit something that was said, they can easily watch the recording. Change is inevitable as well, and especially in a fast-moving industry like boutique fitness. Your classes will evolve, your pricing model will shift, and your team might grow or shrink. But how you manage and communicate these changes is key to keeping your team engaged and focused. Use your team meetings as a platform to communicate upcoming changes before they happen. Transparency is key, right? People need time to process and prepare for transitions, especially if they're big ones like new leadership or a major rebranding. But don't just drop changes on your team and expect them to adapt without guidance. Create space for questions, concerns, and feedback. This will help your team feel involved in the change process, which will increase their buy-in. Also, frame change in terms of the studio's mission and goals. If you're launching a new pricing model, explain how it ties into your vision of making the studio more accessible. If you're introducing a new class, show how it aligns with your mission to create a diverse offering. When your team understands why the change is happening, they're far more likely to support it. Finally, create feedback loops. Encourage your team to provide regular feedback on meetings and the overall onboarding or team building process. This feedback can highlight areas of improvement and reinforce your team's voice matters in shaping the studio's direction. So there you have it, your blueprint for running highly effective team meetings that boost alignment, motivation, and accountability. But here's the thing, this is just the beginning. The deeper you dive into these strategies, the more impactful they become. And if you're looking for more tailored advice and support, you need to join our mastermind program. It's where we go even deeper on these topics, offering you strategies to not just run a better studio, but to scale a successful, sustainable business. We dive into the details, everything from team building and operation to sales and marketing. So if you're serious about taking your studio to the next level, come join us in the mastermind where we take these conversations and turn them into real action for your business. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. I hope you found this episode valuable. And if you did, please follow the podcast, leave a review, share it with your team, and always stay tuned for more episodes filled with actionable tips to keep your studio growing and thriving in the boutique fitness space. Until next time, I'm Coach Caroline. Have a great day.